All right, so that is kind of overall what we can do to help our kids with their resiliency. We also know there are some things that kids can do on their own to help with their own resiliency. So on the worksheet called Do's of Resiliency, this is the worksheet that's given to kids a lot that you can give to your kids or kind of work through with them. It's really up to you on how you like to use it. But ideally, these are things that kids can use in their own lives to deal with or to handle and to build their own resiliency. So a lot of it does mirror kind of what we just talked about, but there's a few differences. We do talk about getting connected. We want our kids to make friends, get to know people, join teams or clubs or organizations. We want them to talk with their families and their parents, their friends, adults, understand other people's opinions or experiences without placing judgment, but really just having these connections is a great tool for our kids to be seeking and looking for. The next one is building skills. So we know that kids have gotten through a lot of challenging times in their life, and we want them to learn from those experiences and try new skills as well. So on the back sheet of the handout, you'll see it's called Build Skills, and we'll go over this in a little bit, but that can help facilitate a conversation with them of how they've learned from adversity in their past and really applying that to new experiences. We also want them to have some hassle-free zone. They have a lot going on in their lives all the time, running from activity to activity and school events. So having a place in their house or it doesn't necessarily have to be in the house, just somewhere in their life that they can have some like a haven of freedom from stress and anxieties. We're not asking kids to just push everybody out, but we do need to give our kids some space to have some time to be alone and just deal with whatever stressors they're handling at the time. We also know that during a time of major stress, it's important for kids to have routine. Because a lot of times things are all over the place and routine is disrupted, having just something that maybe keeps them a little bit more in routine can be helpful. So maybe they love taking their dog for a walk, making sure that's something they can do every day, or they have a phone call with a best friend who doesn't live here anymore. Giving them that little bit of a routine that can be really helpful during those times they maybe feel more out of control. Taking care of themselves. So we talk a lot about self-care, but this is truly important, especially for kids. And I didn't touch on this with the parents, but you modeling self-care is going to have a huge impact on your kids' self-care. So really allowing them to have time to care for themselves, however that may look. It can be physical self-care, mental self-care, a lot of different ways, but we want to just help them identify what that is and give them the time and space to do it. We also know that it can be hard for kids to talk about things when they're stressed out or dealing with challenges, and yet we kind of try to force that. It's not always the best option for our kids, so we want to give them other outlets to express emotions or express whatever's going on. So for some kids that might be through art, for others it may be through journaling, others it may be getting outside, but really allowing them to express themselves and not just hammering them to talk about it. Sometimes they need to express those emotions in other ways. The next one is taking control and creating goals. So those bad times in their lives can make them, again, feel out of control. So we want them to take some control back by taking action and creating goals for themselves. We want them to make long-term goals and then work them through step by step so they can see what they have achieved. And then helping others. We talked about this a little bit with contribution, but it doesn't have to be big. I just did this for some kids at a middle school, and they were identifying little things like holding the door open for somebody or telling somebody, that something positive about themselves in the hallway, or if somebody dropped everything, going and helping them pick it up. So it doesn't have to be these big things, but really letting kids know that when we help others who may be struggling or need some more support, that also helps ourselves as well. And then turning it off, I think we all know what that means, but We know our kids are getting information as it is happening, and that can create a lot of anxieties and stressors. So just having times where they have to turn it off and don't have full access to being on their phones or on their devices all the time can help clear all of our heads. But really for kids, this is really important. So like I said in that worksheet, the building skills one on the back has the kids identify difficult times or struggles. We want them to recognize who helped them, who did they help, what they learned about themselves, and what they could do better next time. So when they have this ability to reflect from a past challenge, they can take a lot of those skills and apply them to new challenges they may face.